Hi everyone, it's Malcolm Boudin here. Today I'm going to do a very quick short take network design scenario on WAN to LAN handover. This is from the M&B Networks WAN Design Course and one of around about 200 examples which we go through over 5 days. One of the things that we have to consider when we do a WAN design is how we're going to integrate it into the existing local area network. In this short take we're going to cover WAN to LAN handover with a layer 2 handover and talk about some of the considerations, the integration points of the network and what we need to think about. So if we look at this scenario and first of all we break it down and we look, what do we actually have here? So we have a MPLS L3VPN network in this particular use case. On that MPLS L3VPN service, we peer eBGP from the PE to the CE. This is a pure layer 3 connection between the provider and the customer. On the right hand side, we have a remote CE or CPE 1 and remote CE or CPE 2, which is the device on the customer site. And then up here, we have two provider edge routers which reside in the customer POP. We have a point-to-point /30 IP range here, with the odd number being on the customer side and the even number being on the provider side. This is something that you should probably think about and coordinate with your ISP if they don't already do this, but it gives you a standardized way of knowing if you have a /30 subnet, your device is always going to be the odd number and the provider device is always going to be the even number. Moving down the stack, we also have a point-to-point in this scenario, which you won't always see, but we also have a point-to-point routed link between the routers. The reason for this is if one of the WAN links, for example this one here, fails, but the router is still up, then we can redirect traffic from the LAN to come up to this default gateway and easily route across and out of the other CE router on the site. That pretty much covers the WAN aspect of things. Now let's look at how we actually hand over to the LAN. In this scenario, we've got first hop routing protocol indicated here, which is a floating default gateway, and we call that a VIP or a virtual IP address. So what happens here is the default gateway for every device on the local area network has the same default gateway, for example .1. So if we have .1 as the default gateway, however, you see we have three separate VLANs here. We have the purple VLAN, we have the orange VLAN, and we have the red VLAN. So I've already indicated that there would be a .1 for the red VLAN. We would also have .1 for the purple VLAN. It's not very good colour, but no problem. And then we would have a default gateway of .1 on the orange VLAN. These would obviously be different subnets. You can see in the diagram that we also have indicated that this is an 802.1q trunk between the router and the LAN switch. The LAN switch here is a layer 2 device only, so it might not have any capability to do layer 3 routing, which means when all this is said and done, if we add a green traffic flow in here and we talk about one subnet, so let's say the green traffic flow or the traffic originates from the red VLAN, it has to go up probably to the preferred router via the VIP address, then back down via the switch, and then into the orange VLAN. And the same would be the case if we had to go to the purple VLAN. So this is called router on a stick. It's a very old traditional model and it's typically in the scenario, you still see it around in lots of networks, but it's in the scenario, and typically the scenario where it's a historical network and there was no capability for layer 3 on this device, which is the local area network switch. That rounds up today's short take on WAN to LAN handover. Hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully we'll see you in some future sessions. Thanks very much. This session was to provide a very small snapshot of what's included on the MNB Networks WAN Design course. We only really touch on the fundamentals of Layer 2 handover, but in the course we talk about this in much more depth and various different failover scenarios that may be a result of this type of deployment. We also talk about physical connectivity, Layer 2 connectivity, Layer 3 connectivity, and the FHRP protocols, along with the impact that they have on the WAN integration in much more detail. In addition to that, we also talk about Layer 3 handover, multi-VRF, Layer 3 handover, and various other topics. If you think you're interested in the course, go to mnbnetworks.tech and navigate to training and then WAN Design course for further information, and you can always see the feedback that's been provided by previous students. Thanks very much for your attention, and I wish you all the best.